Shortly after midnight, on the 13th of April 1942, special forces of the British SBS emerged from a merchant ship at the port of Seebrugge to conduct a raid against vital rubber shipments stored in the port warehouses. The subsequent fires would burn for days, but more importantly, the detailed reports about defensive positions became the basis for a much more significant operation in June. Escorted by a task force out of Dover, led by the Queen Elizabeth-class battleship RMS Valiant, which had previously sunk the CNS Mississippi off the Iberian coast, Union landing craft set ashore on the Dutch coastline. After securing the port facilities, several infantry divisions, as well as a tank division, were landed to expand the incursion into Reichsmark territory. Dutch defense forces were quickly overrun by the experienced British regulars, and it took the almost uncontested takeover of Amsterdam, Rotterdam and The Hague, and the panicked escape of the Dutch government for the bloated Reichspakt military organization to react. As it became clear that the local troops could contain the Union incursion but not retake the cities, veteran German units had to be withdrawn from the Russian front to fight a protracted campaign over the following weeks, pushing British soldiers back towards the ports and eventually retake the occupied territory. This, in turn, critically weakened flashpoints in the east and assisted Russian breakthroughs. Despite our differences in political systems, the Union has shown the famous British spirit to never surrender in the face of insurmountable odds and proven a reliable ally. Given these circumstances, the next focus, and we are relatively close to completing one, is going to be the Kama Training Center, which will eventually open up the road towards the Eureka Conference once the war has been won against Germany. But the British have definitely proven their worth. Now, we have managed to take Bialystok, and so far we're managing to hold it against counterattacks. But the complete German armored fist of, at this point, what are we looking at? At this point, almost 39 armored divisions is crashing into Memel, trying to retake the territory and to push back the infantry currently holding it. We will retreat, if we have to, towards the fortified positions in the rear. And I think the other thing that we can do is we can bring we're bringing the close air support wings over again to assist with holding back these attacks, while we are actually having aerial superiority over Poland, and we are still winding down the last and the heaviest attacks over Ukrainian territory, which are in support of attempted breakthroughs south of Brest-Litovsk, which, however, are just run by regular infantry and at this point are probably not going to be successful. So here the aerial superiority and the bombardment is definitely coming in helpful as well. India, I think, has been helping there too. And with that, the European front is slowly but surely moving, and it looks like we have actually numerical superiority over the German forces in the air, because they have pretty much given up on things. So that might have been an effect of bringing aircraft over towards the British area if they're fighting there. But in the end, if Germany cannot reconstitute their air force due to lack of resources, and we will eventually gain the upper hand, that also means a degradation of the quality of the German pilots, because an increasing amount of losses. And if we're looking here, we will have, we're trading almost 4.5 to 1 when it comes to fighters. Now, these aren't all German fighters. We are seeing a few Austrians, a few Polish and other locals as well. But all in all, it means that these are irreplaceable losses when it comes to pilot quality and experience, and eventually will degrade not just their numbers, but also their fighting quality. All right, we have managed to destroy a few more Swedish divisions in the north, but we'll have to see where we are going to move here next. While moving towards Göteborg, and the Norwegians are fighting here, has been working out. I think what we can do next here is we're going to give them already a front line. What we can do next here is we can try again to break the enemy lines here towards Karlstadt. So if we are going to get all 3 divisions onto that. In fact, actually, we can leave that to the Norwegians to retake. So we're going to get all 3 divisions here. And then the goal would be, well, for all 3 divisions, the goal would be to make a break towards Karlstadt. That might be difficult in terms of supply. We'll have to see. Alternatively, we would have to break through from Fredrikstad into the forest and then try to surround them from this side. But I think this is, if we can pull this off, because the Swedes don't have supply here either, because we have cut off the supply from Göteborg and Norwegian forces have reinforced this. So we'll try to push through here, and if we can encircle 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 Swedish divisions, then that would be a great victory. All in all, making progress in the Norwegian front with the limited forces available. In Africa, we are clearing positions in the mountains here and dealing with a few more Wehrbezirkskommando units that have escaped into the formerly secured hinterland. And then once we've got that all under control, then supply is going to be difficult here. Then we can see if we can expand from the supply position here in Tabora and clear out a few more enemy troops and hopefully reduce the overall number of available troops for Middle Africa. However, the enemy capital in Buea will have to be not taken by land, because we're not making our way through the undeveloped center here. That's not happening. We could, as somebody mentioned, potentially launch a naval. This is owned by Portugal, so not from here. We could launch maybe an invasion from St. Helena, and fascinatingly enough, we have actually managed to break out a few, and this needs to be changed. That's the wrong symbol now. There we go. That's better. We have managed to break out a few old Egyptian destroyers that in a sort of desperate move through enemy-controlled territory, because the Baltic Sea is still very much under enemy control, and I was expecting Swedish or German forces to sail out to intercept these, but the destroyers have managed to slip through and make their way out into the open to support the Marines after their failed landing operations in Trykomali. So they're currently reinforcing, and they will be training up the new arrivals for a second attempt, this time against Colombo, and this time with destroyer support. So that has worked, which means we are actually relatively free to operate out in the open. And it seems that the Reichspakt naval forces have been too slow to react, or we have just been lucky to pass by here. That said, we're still refitting the ships, but that's still going to take up to late 1943. So we're still looking at a year ahead when the main heavy forces are going to become available. And we are actually short on tungsten at this point. Can we trade tungsten with anybody? We can easily trade tungsten with India, so we'll do that. And okay, yeah, that's a good amount of tungsten available, so that's something we can trade. Rubber would be a much bigger issue. We can trade small amounts of rubber with Siam, but still the Reichspakt is holding the vast majority of rubber resources. They just don't have the naval control to effectively ship it back home. So that's another issue. All right, but our main focus, events do we have pending here? That was just an ACE event. The main focus is going to be furthering the assault here. We do have to secure the railway line northeast of Bialystok, in order to get supply into Bialystok, and then we can break through towards Suwalki. Unfortunately, Mariupol has turned out to be a supply position for the Lithuanian kingdom, still holding supplies in the north. So we will have to reach Mariupol as well. But we can still surround and strip enemy forces as we go. So in order to free this up, we are going to give the mounted divisions a little bit of time to recover, while we've got the 8th Army Infantry Divisions reinforcing Bialystok. Before we get back into the action, however, I do want to take a look around what the situation is in terms of divisions, because we have a fair few divisions that are still outdated. So, for example, we've got Casagrandi's 2nd Army holding the Odessa front. That can probably stay. We've got Pepeleyev's 3rd Army, which is holding the central sector here against numerically superior odds. But most of these divisions are up to date. We've got the 9th Army, which is up to date. We've got the 7th Army of Kanzin, which is not up to date. So these, if we were to get these up to date, that would require 800 artillery pieces, which we don't have. So the limiting factor is going to be artillery, most likely. So that means, unfortunately, that we will not be able to do an awful lot. But I put additional factories into artillery, I believe. Yeah, we've got 15 factories all in all now on artillery. So we're building up 21 a day, which means, we have a positive. We have a positive number, a positive production surplus. That's what I was trying to say. Trucks, a little bit of a problem here. We do still have a stockpile, but not an awful lot. And we do have to be very careful because, trucks is going to become a problem very quickly. So we do need, we do need additional. We're currently making 7 a day, but we're losing too many. And that means that's probably from the light tank divisions, but they're on defense. They shouldn't be too much. We're not using trucks very widely. So let's definitely get the 5 factories back on trucks. This is currently priority, simply because these things are so essential for supply operations. It could also just simply be because we are just needing. We're losing we're losing about 1 a day to attrition, actually, mostly, and we're making 7 a day. So that should still be all right. But I do wish to have a few more factories onto that. So the next few factories are going to go into trucks. And we are still constructing a fair amount of them, yes. So we've still got 10 factories coming up. We'll keep an eye on that sort of situation. All right, let's get back to the action. And here we will have to begin planning for the 5th Army to retake, to ensure... Okay, this is actually 2 sectors that we have to take here. In that regard, okay, let's rethink this then. So we don't have supply in Bialystok itself. We do actually need to take 2 provinces to connect Bialystok, Grodno and this one. We could try a breakout, but we would have to get three potential positions to surround that. And I don't think the supply from Vilnius and Slonim is going to be sufficient. Grodno itself is not a supply hub, I think. It can be a little hard to see with it's not a supply hub. So we actually have to clear these positions we're actually going to have to clear both positions here in order to supply Bialystok for further offensive operations. So no encirclements here, unfortunately. We're simply going to have to, because we're not going to have supply to get the tanks to do that. So the tank divisions are going to assist with this operation for now, and then we will from there on out we are going to, and I'm going to remove the larger operation here, and that looks a little bit better. Okay, so tank divisions will assist as part of the overall operation to push towards Mariupol. And the 5th Army Mountaineers, together with the regular infantry out of Grodno, are going to help with, are going to assist with, the 8th Army as well, are going to assist with taking these positions to connect Bialystok's supply as the next offensive operation. For now, we're going to have to see as well if we can manage to hold in Memel. It seems we have beaten back the German tanks, or is Guderian moving off? He might be. Okay, he's moving off. Yeah. Okay, Guderian's on the move. He might be moving to attempt to retake Bialystok or to hit Brest-Litovsk. We also have to be careful with potential counterattacks south of Bialystok here. So there are definitely terrain. There's definitely terrain here that's going to be very difficult to hold. And most of our light tanks are busy reinforcing the lines in the south here, trying to defend against significant German counterattacks. So this is a bit of a weak spot, and we will have to see how that goes. Do we get more? Most of the tank divisions are short on infantry equipment, really, and that's the bottleneck right now. Other than that, these are actually relatively quick to. It's going to be relatively. I'm going to prioritize these actually. I'm going to give them high priority, just to make sure that we can get these divisions out as soon as possible. Other than that, we're relatively close to the division limit, and I think we would have to go into total mobilization to further increase that, which I'm not a fan of. I think the overall, the consumer goods and everything else is certainly not helping, and also we would need more than 80% war support. War support being one of the largest problems at this point. Enemy bombing should actually reduce. I think most of it is the terror bombing campaign in Ukraine, which is getting curtailed. Yeah, it's probably this one. So that is getting wound down, and they are reinforcing now in Poland. So they're shifting fighters out of Ukraine. Which means we have to reinforce the Polish air zone against the increasing number of German fighters now coming into the theater. And that means we are going to need a few more fighter wings in Brest-Litovsk and assisting with Poland. Where's that event? Okay, game's a bit bugged. Not sure where that event is. All right, but we do have support planes now active over the Baltic states as well, and that'll help. So that the tank push has been repelled, and the counterattacks are running against Stefan's forces in Bialystok. This is the more critical one here. So far, it's just a single infantry division. But if we are seeing significant tank movements, we're going to have to keep a very close eye on where Guderian is heading off to. So he is heading south. He could either be trying to reinforce Bialystok and the push against Brest-Litovsk, or he could make another go at Odessa. The Odessa line is going to be stable, but this line is not stable at this point. So I think we are going to we're still sending reinforcements here to hold the line. I can pull some of the 12th Army troops down south if we need to reinforce the southern sector against armored attacks. I'm hesitant to bring the 12th Army troops around. I might send 3. Yeah, I think we can get 3 12th Army divisions to. I have a suspicion that he's going to try and hit us here, so I'm going to send 3 divisions of the 12th Army south and assist in. Let's get them here and assist in holding the lines here in case we need additional. I'd just like to have them in reserve if possible, in case we need to hold additional things. We have obviously not enough garrison equipment, but I don't think we have necessarily problems with efficiency. We're still at 100% efficiency. Lithuania, not so much. So Lithuania is struggling a little. What's the resistance looking like? It's not much. Resistance targets are reasonably low. Ukraine is the only one still under martial law. simply due to their organized partisan activity. But the rest is in very, very good shape. So most of the occupied territories are happily collaborating with the liberators, which means we've got 100,000 men in garrison still, but it's nowhere near as bad as it could be. And yes, Memel is showing some partisan activity. What do we got on Germany? Memel is German territory. So no, we definitely don't want civilian oversight. We do want martial law over German territory. So I have to be careful because it does trade hands, which means I have to reset that every time. Civilian oversight in Syria is correct, and the rest of them is, I think, resistance. Yeah, the military governor is taking care of that. Compliance would bring it down to 20%, and resistance is completely suppressed in most areas. So we could even be. We could even go down to local police force. Honestly, I think that's worth doing because that should still be mostly enough. But with the current shortage of infantry equipment, I'm not going to do that. But we can eventually get the military governors returned and get a local police force going. All right, we'll try. This looks relatively weak. We'll try to launch. These troops are still exhausted. Okay, we'll wait until these troops are no longer exhausted. Troops here can delete these front lines. Troops here are. This is going to take forever. Can we get these troops to? I definitely don't run through Swedish controlled territory. What is going on here? Can we get these troops to take the railway to Elverum, please? And these as well. Railway to Elverum. And then deploy from there. Okay, so troops on the move. In the Kenyan front, we are trying to break this position in the mountains here, and then push destroy the encircled Middle Africa positions. So that's all clear. We're holding that port, and that gets us back into the theater, and where we have to keep a very close eye on Guderian and where the tanks are moving. Okay, we do not necessarily want the 6th Army troops to move off here. That should be this front line. So this is getting a little chaotic, but because it's hard to tell which line is which. This is, I think it's this one. That should be restricted here. Not entirely, sir. Yeah, it's four divisions of the 6th Army. It's the outer one here. Okay, that needs to be restricted here. So heavy tanks remain for an attack north. Giving the 8th Army infantry some time to dig in here. These divisions should be, well, they're somewhat entrenched. So for now, we're holding that back. And I just want to know where Guderian is moving off to, while everything else is reorganizing itself. Some divisions are shuffling. Okay, they're on okay, 16th Army cannot be on flexible cohesion, please. Please stay on rigid. So you stay there, you stay there. Otherwise we get these crazy moves around. And that's just not something that's particularly viable if troops lose their entrenchment because of that. Okay, so that's done, and that means that's underway. And that means we can keep another eye on the air situation. No more fighter escorts over Ukraine, so this is a Turkish shoot. This is an absolute Turkish shoot at this point. And low fighter coverage over Poland that we can easily suppress. And no more coverage over the Baltic states either. Yeah, the German Air Force is. I'm not sure if they have just been removed or if they're just depleted at this point. But attacks have ceased mostly, and no sign of Guderian. He should have arrived. We're going to get into autumn here at this point. He should have arrived. There's a tank division. He should have arrived here. If by now, if they were going to make any moves. No, I think they're moving south towards another attempt at Odessa potentially. That's fine. Odessa can hold. Odessa is stable enough. So we can give the troops here, despite the fact that they're on rigid, they're still moving around like crazy. No, stay there. I might actually have to shorten the lines for the which ones are these? Let's see. Nope, they do want to redeploy 8th Army. Okay. We'll roll with it as things go. Combined arms exercises are complete. Concept of combined arms is simple enough, but its implementation requires rigorous drilling. Land forces must be taught to rely on air forces where necessary to feed them with accurate information, and the pilots themselves must understand their role as soldiers in the sky, not as individualistic bogatiers. A bogatier being a famous mythical sort of knight. So that's 10% ground support and 15% air superiority bonus. So that's nice to have. And like I said, in honor of the British assistance, we're going for the Karma Training Center. And we can actually bypass that. Okay, so we didn't even need to do much. So we can auto-complete that pretty much. I didn't even notice that. Usually that happens automatically, but okay. So with that, we can do the funding of the GAU, because I think this was the, or we could do the Grand Mechanization Program. There was a reason I needed that. I think it was one of the MIOs actually. If I can only, was it TOS? Let me see. Yes. So. I have to complete the Tula Arms Factory in order to get this one. Alright, so as much as I would actually prefer the other one to a degree, just because of the production cost, this is the better one, but this would give me a noticeable bonus on infantry equipment. Quite irritating that this is locked behind locked behind a focus. So this would be a 10% production cost reduction on mechanized and armor, and truck. This actually be more helpful at this point. This would be artillery attack and artillery defense. Okay, defense not making much of a difference, but the artillery attack 5% obviously mostly goes into soft attack, which is very useful, and it goes directly into it's a direct boost to all units, and it's we have a shortage of infantry equipment, so yeah, screw it, we're going with this one. 49 days, that's going to take a long time. All right, situation here, the 5th Army has mostly recuperated, so we can launch a combined arms attack against the positions here, and then we will move north. We will move north from there. So we should be able to break that. It is a forest position, but look at the attack values at this point from the mountain divisions. That is, planning bonus, obviously, commander skill as well, helping. And we are fighting in the Polish air zone, where we actually have fighter cover and ground support. Talking about which, do we have available close air support aircraft? We've got some fighters available. These are pretty much not. We can start building up new fighter wings, I think. But so far we don't have available ground support aircraft extras. So that's still coming. All right, let's start up another fighter wing. Get it to train up. And that's that. Okay, so push is commencing into led by the experienced mountain divisions into Modul's defenses in the forest northeast of Bialystok. Where did Guderian go? I've lost sight of his tanks, which is not something I'm happy about, because I prefer to know where he is. Oh, there he is. Oh, so he's hitting us here now. This is a different sector. This is not a sector that we're normally dealing with, and this is actually a relatively weakly defended sector. So that said, they are There are not many divisions there, and it's just regular infantry, but they are reasonably well fortified. That said, if he brings in sufficient tank forces, this is going to be a problem. So I'm going to redeploy the anti-tank divisions. Good. That's why it's always important to keep an eye on where Guderian is. I'm going to redeploy the anti-tank divisions along this sector here. And I might actually bring these here as well. So let's get these moving by train to there. And let's get these divisions moving by railway to Venezia, and then deploy towards the front lines before the majority of Guderian's tank forces is going to crush into the lines here. So that should help with holding positions there. Okay, how's it look in the north? We have divisions in place. They are a little bit low on supply, but we have an opportunity here. So once they are extremely veteran divisions. Once they are reasonably reorganized, then we'll make the push towards Karlstadt. Another ace pilot, and for some reason there's a message here that I can't time out. Anyway, we have army experience, I think, to get another 10 points of orc for mountaineers. Yes, please. So just to show what the impact of that is. So these divisions currently have an org of 70, which is massive. But if we do this, then they should have, and I'm probably going to have to reopen that because it's not automatically refreshing. They have an org of 77, so it's 10%. It's not 10 points, but still, it's nice to have. So that definitely helps a massive amount. So these mountaineers are very, very difficult to break. I have an empty front line here. Let's get rid of that. And we are making our way, and yes, they're very difficult to break, and they are leading the charge here, making their way through the enemy positions without too much trouble. And now we can use these divisions as well to start breaking into. Let's open the front a little bit wider even. Let's begin taking the position north here. And then we should have supply towards Bialystok. A quick look at Guderian. So far, it's just a single tank division. Has he been faking that? No, not necessarily. I've seen more panzers. There are a few more here, but I actually thought I'd seen more of them. So close look on where his panzer forces are. No further British incursions. The rest of the war relatively static. But let's have a quick look at the other positions. These are not yet clear, and here we have managed to we have managed to get through. So we do need to push these divisions out in the south, and we are going to clear that encircled division here. But everyone else needs to work towards. Unfortunately, without supply, this is relatively difficult. So as we're working our way east, we should be somewhat better in terms of supply. Actually, I might actually move the divisions east and then resupply and then attack from here. So we might do that. And the mountaineers, I would want to make sure that they don't reconnect. So the mountaineers are going to push south for now, but the guards are going to push east, resupply, and then do that. And this division going to do the same thing. Actually, go there, there, and then there. All right. So that's underway. We have the Marines training. Okay, that's still going to go a while. These are still reconstituting, and we have an MIO. That is Obukov, which we are using, I believe, for everything with big shells. So yeah, for all three of them. So what can we get? Towed anti-air, production efficiency cap. We can get improved anti-tank. That might actually be a reasonable one. to do that. What else is here? This is resource needs, not really. Conversion speed, not really that important. Anti-air, I think we have enough. So I'm going to go with the production resource need plus 50%. Can we afford that? That is for anti-tank. What's anti-tank needing? Anti-tank is needing tungsten. That is unfortunate. So that would increase the amount of tungsten that we need by 50%. Or we could get production cost and efficiency coupling. This is not great. Well, we'll just have to import tungsten then. But getting better anti-tank is a good thing. So now let's quickly upgrade the anti-tank. Not this one. There we go. And the F40B, we're going to increase that, which gives us additional, doesn't say how many points, but a few. Save that, and then that doesn't tell us what the delta is, unfortunately. So we've got that, and that still only needs 15 tungsten. Interesting. It should have been more actually, but I'll take it. We'll convert existing equipment, so that's all good. The shortage of infantry equipment keeps getting exacerbated, and we're starting to have a deficit on trucks now as well. So that is not great. We're assigned 20 factories on infantry equipment. The problem here really is the efficiency cap. So the trucks we will sort out, but we do have to keep a bit of an eye on the situation. All right, a battle going on here, and I think we are going to win that relatively decisively. I'm going to leave one tank division behind just to hold the lines here, so we don't need we could actually leave the heavy tanks behind while the infantry clears that out. Just to hold out against the potential counterattacks. As there's not much left that can hold against our assault. New attacks against Memel, but these are Austrians, I think. That's the Austrians. So that's not going anywhere. Do we see increased number of German tanks? 3. Yeah, that's where we are. Okay, so we are seeing. Yeah, there's Guderian. So I was correct. Guderian has launched the assaults here, but the anti-tank divisions have arrived in time. And even though they're not yet engaged, they should provide ample firepower to hold him back. So that should not be a problem. Quick look over here, not yet ready. And in Kenya, things are still okay. This division needs to break through here as well, and then make their way eastwards. So everyone's on the move slowly because of lack of equipment. And in the air, again, this is something that you just need to constantly check. Ukraine not change, so that's all good. And we've got the aerial superiority over Poland and over the Baltic states with the ground support at this point. Just to hold back the ground support is just in order to help holding these assaults against Memel. Okay, support the assault with the heavy tanks from here, and we are backfilling infantry to support the lines as well, and the mountaineers as they lose. As the pioneering mountaineer divisions are losing a bit of traction, but the heavy tanks are now coming in as well, and most of these are going to be pushed back. There's still a large amount of them, of enemy divisions, but we are attacking from 3 sides, aren't we? Okay, heavy tanks in. We just have to make sure that we get the combat width sufficiently up. And that should be enough to eventually push them out from there. Okay, Memel coming under attack by Austrians mostly, with some German panzer divisions in support, but that's not going to go anywhere. Guderian's main assault is being held at this point, and everything else is everything else is stable. I think we have enough equipment. We have enough. We've re-equipped enough to launch the assault. These are unfortunately dug in. Yeah. Let's launch the assault regardless and see if we can manage the breakthrough. Yeah, we can get 2 divisions on point. That should be enough firepower to break the Swedes here without too much trouble. So we need 1 division to stay here and the other 2 to move on. And once we've taken Karlstadt, we'll clean up the encircled Swedes. That should be another 5 divisions. We're still holding on tenaciously here in the forests near Grodno. And how many do you have? 6 divisions left. Unless they can reinforce that relatively quickly. The mountain divisions are getting a little exhausted at this point. But the heavy tanks should be, once they actually get to engage, should be able to push this home. Then we will have a supply connection towards Bialystok, and then we can conduct further operations. We have broken through and we have taken Karlstadt. This division needs to move forward, so let's clear the front lines and say where exactly we want to be. We want to have these lines here. Okay, instant counterattacks from the encircled Swedish forces, so we'll deflect that, and I think we can probably we should be able to deflect that without problem. That means 5 Swedish divisions trapped, which also means that we're now going to activate the rest of the troops here and get them to begin offensive operations immediately against the trapped Swedes. Yeah, and then eventually pushing them out from there. So instant attacks running. Machine encryption has been improved, and I think we have 1 more. So let's get this just out of the way. We're still very far away from actually decrypting anybody, but we're working on it. And we have which doctrine available? Oh, we've got the Navy XP for the shore parties. Yeah, that was one of the ones that I absolutely wanted for, not for jungle, but for amphibious operations. So that is an absolute necessity for the amphibious operations. So let's have a quick look at the Marines. We're looking at, where is it? River amphibious operations. Currently 32.5% attack bonus. The rest is neutral. So once we are taking that, and that probably doesn't refresh. No, it doesn't. So I need to reopen it. Then we get 57% attack bonus, 20% movement bonus, and 15% defense bonus. So yeah, just from the division design, because having the army scouts as the support company here is absolutely essential. So Marines are significantly improved, and with that we are looking at potentially the next offensive operations once they are trained up. They're currently still training. Okay, the assault here is still ongoing, and it's still a hard fight. We'll throw the mountaineers here back into the fray once they have regained some organization. But noticeable counterattacks now against Bialystok here, where we do have to be a little careful. The guards should be able to hold this relatively well. Counterattacks along the whole front line, and noticeable assaults here also in the south. I think we can hold that. We've got the 14th Army specialists here, which are reasonably well equipped, and the armored counterattack here is holding as well. But yeah, I have to keep an eye on the front lines and not get too focused. Memel assaults from the Austrians should be pushed back. And we have defeated the incursion here, which means we can now begin moving and assisting with the destruction of Swedish forces. So that's on the go. in Kenya, we have managed to cut off these troops here, but we have to be careful. Okay, hang on. We have to be careful that these divisions don't go where they're not supposed to go. So everybody here, let's get a new front line. These 3 divisions on that front line removed. That division, where do we have the supply? Is there a supply? Was there a supply hub somewhere here? That's further up north, so we don't need you here actually. So let's get that division here as well. Okay. Once these guys can already begin offensive operations. They have supply. Once these troops are resupplied, then they can join. And the mountaineers are just going to hold a position here to make sure that I can assist here, I guess, to make sure that no one gets out. And we have another MIO, the Balski Zavod, and we've gone through the battleship improvements. This is all for carriers, I believe, so not really something, which means we can go through the other branch now and get improved anti-air going. I don't have the naval XP to upgrade anything, and also it would need another round of refits, which isn't particularly great. I do have to be a little we do have to be a bit careful here in the north, because we are about to be cut off due to Allied troops completely abandoning the front lines. So we're going to get the 143rd to push these guys back and rely on the Persian 53rd to ensure that the supply position is being held. But yeah, we are outnumbered quite significantly at this point here along the lines, and clearing out these positions is going to be quite important. So this division still undersupplied. Here we are. Go through. Here we are clearing out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, 5 Swedish positions. So that's significant. But Bialystok is probably a little bit more significant right now. So, and I'm going to divert a heavy tank division south, if we can, and probably a few. I might send some infantry over here as well, and maybe 2 of the mountain divisions to hold. Bialystok needs to be held, so that's quite vital. So let's send reinforcements there. I think we have the position here hopefully locked down. They're still managing to reinforce, and we do have, this is Polish air zone, so we do have, is this Polish air zone? Yes, it is. We do have 300 support planes from the Indian Federation helping out, and that should result in no, actually, we're not particularly effective. Probably still being disrupted by enemy fighters. How about the Ukrainian situation? Yeah, Ukraine, they are trying to, I believe, bomb Ukraine, but it is not getting anywhere. Rest of the line is stable. Bialystok reinforcing, and the supply position near Grodno is, or should be able, we should be able to take. But they keep reinforcing that line. We'll get the heavy tanks involved. There we go. But they're obviously now in multiple combat, trying to hold back enemy assaults as well. We do have additional Indian troops north in Grodno that we can throw in the line here. So we've got a few reinforcements that we can bring in. Obvious massive counterattacks along the line here that needs to be held all the way between Bialystok and Brest-Litovsk, and even south of that. Guderian still engaged. Is he on the move? He might be moving again. We're good. We're good on the Memel position. I'm reasonably certain that these divisions can hold. They're digging in, and Memel is as fortified as she gets. So that's that. All right. We have wiped out the Swedish positions here, and that should have lost them, if we can find it. Yep, about 50,000 Swedish troops have been destroyed or have surrendered. And with that, we actually don't have intelligence anymore where Swedish troops are operating in the area. So that's That's quite fascinating. How's the air situation over Norway? In fact, we actually have a positive air situation. We could go for another attempt at Göteborg, but it is a little at the edge of supply. However, what we can try is we can try to approach Göteborg from the north and see what that looks like. So let's get the forces on the lines here. We'll deploy the mountain divisions north of Göteborg, and we've got the 11th Army regulars. We'll deploy them along the line here. And we'll see that is going to stretch supply, but if we have enough for an assault, then it might be worth it. Okay, Kenya situation. We have been pushed back here, but they have broken out in the north, and I don't think we can actually hold this line here anymore at this point. They are, yeah, we're not managing to break enemy positions, so we are going to have to pull the 143rd out of there for now, and yeah, we're going to retreat back towards the main lines. Let's get all these divisions. Let's get these divisions cleared, and I'll probably retreat along the railway before you're being cut off here. I might actually retreat along the southern front. We'll clear that. We'll retake that territory. We just don't have the positions to hold it at this point. Okay, but we can launch. An assault here. That should work out because these divisions are starved. So the Wehrbezugskommandos are not going anywhere, and then we will eliminate the rest of these troops here. Okay, many fronts to observe and many things to take care of. The assault here in southwest of Grodno is still going. So, but they are managing to continuously reinforce these lines, and we just can't get them cleared out quickly enough due to the enemy counterattacks. So, for now, we do have one tank division in Bialystok for holding the lines here. Light tanks are still assisting with defensive operations near Brest-Litovsk. I might be able to actually pull these back by now, because we have enough. I think we have enough troops here that we can pull the light tanks out of this, because these are just infantry assaults. I think we're secure enough here on these lines, despite the fact that they're not fortified, which is why I had the light tanks there, that we can begin using these light tank divisions again in offensive manners as a support for a breakthrough towards Mariupol. So let's organize that. I think I'm going to keep the assault here going for now. They've reinforced significantly again. I think I'm going to stop the assault for now. It is we'll get everything reorganized. We get all the divisions back to where they're supposed to be, and I might bring the light tanks, which are not particularly great in forests, but we can bring them along for the push through this position. First of it is going to be to secure Grodno, and then the push would be north towards Mariupol, and then cutting off this whole section of the front line here. So let's bring the light tanks north. Okay, troops are moving in Sweden. Okay, there's a Swedish division. So they have retaken Karlstad, but we do have to be careful that they're not cutting us off anywhere here. Might actually... Okay, we'll try to take Göteborg, but there are opportunities here to encircle and destroy further Swedish forces. Not sure how much the Swedes actually have left, to be honest, at this point. But we can see what the intelligence says. Our army intel is terrible, but there's still a fair amount of troops left, so they still haven't been defeated by a long shot. Okay, I do not want to have all the heavy tanks in Bialystok. Heavy tanks actually need to be north here. So if I can find my front line. I think I'm going to go through quickly, and okay, yeah, that's where the front line is. Yes, this is the 6th Army front line, I think. I'm probably going to reorganize this a bit and join the tank forces because it gets a little chaotic here. Okay, troop concentrations for the renewed push. Unfortunately, Bialystok still not connected, so we can't get any supply out of there, which means we'll have to once again launch an assault here to clear these lines. But once that's done and Bialystok is connected, then we can proceed further. And the counterattacks are being held back quite effectively right now, so that's all good. But Kenya is an area where I'm actually more concerned at this point. This assault here, despite the fact that they're very low on supply, we're still not managing to break through the defenses of the enemy Wehrbezugsskommando. Oh, and they have actually an air force. That is unfortunate. What I can do, okay. Not worth it probably. I was thinking of bringing a. I think I'm going to just reinforce this here and see if we can manage to break this position. No, it doesn't look like. Okay, we'll just hold that, and we'll attack them. We'll attack them from the side once we get to it. So. What I was thinking of bringing a fighter wing south, but to take care of that problem, but yeah, not necessarily. Okay, we have to act here quickly before we are completely out of supply. So let's move these troops into position. We're going to immediately start the offensive here, and from there okay. So we're going to launch the attack here immediately to see if we can clear the position north of Göteborg because we don't have much supply, so we'll have to make this quick. And get this organized. So troops here moving into position. Yeah, troops moving into position. So this is a critical move now towards to see if we can take Göteborg. This has been denied last time. We'll see if we can assault it from two directions before supply runs out, and make a move there. In Kenya, we are. In Kenya, I think we'll manage to clear this out without trouble, but we do need this to get this division out from here sooner rather than later before they get cut off. And then we'll have to see if we can retake this line here and hold this. Probably create a defensive line here for now, to be honest. I was hoping that we had an opportunity to destroy some enemy troops, but we seem to have large concentrations of where are these all move? Okay, we're getting reinforcements from Persia, but until the reinforcements are there, we might have to do that. All right, Göteborg. What is it looking like? So there's one Swedish division in Göteborg, so we'll wait for the mountain troops to make their way through, and then we will launch a joint assault on Göteborg. We seem to have drawn out most of the enemy defenders. We'll launch the attack already from here. And then we will support that from the north while securing the northern flank here as well. And if Göteborg falls, then Sweden is in all kinds of trouble because from here on out, I mean Stockholm is far away, but we could begin marching along the coastline towards Stockholm, provided that the northern flank is held by Norway. And just clear out the Swedish coastline, which would also have advantages for control of the Baltics. Talking about which, I still have some security forces here that I can eventually. So far, they haven't really met any further naval attempts, but I'm still cautious due to the fact that the Reichspakt is still controlling the Baltic Sea. They're not moving out though, so we're maintaining heavy minefields, but. They are still there's a possibility of assault, so I don't want to commit these necessarily to the front lines just yet. Okay, tanks moving into place, and that brings us to the Göteborg situation where we're making breakthroughs, and in Kenya as well, where we are making advances. Okay, this division has gotten out safely. And we'll have to see if we can retake territory there. The Bron transporter B-42. That would be... it's inspired by German half-truck models. Okay. With sloped armor and has some technical issues, but can carry 14 soldiers. So with that, we can get the production. And yes, I do realize that this is, where do we have it? Do we have, yes, we have the MIO assigned. I could spend some XP to improve this. How long are we going to sit on this? This is 1944 tech, so probably for a bit. So we could spend a bit of XP to improve these vehicles out of their prototype stage. I don't need speed. We could improve production cost. What's the reliability? Okay, that would be. We could make it slightly more reliable, but it'd be more expensive to build. Or we could give it a bit more armor. But honestly, I think we can probably do relatively little. So we give it a bit more reliability and give it a bit more armor. That is a 13% increase in production cost and a reduction of speed, which is fine. We don't need speed. We can reduce the production cost impact a little, and with that we have the B42A. So we'll decommission this thing. That's one IC extra, so it's very doable. And we have the heavy mechanized equipment designer, which we have already upgraded. So that's coming into production, and I'm probably going to need a fair few of these things. So. Interestingly enough, that I can convert some Sonderkraftfahrzeugs that we've been capturing. We'll do that, but we do need obviously the factories on this. So this comes in after the close air support frames have been built, and everything else. What's it looking like? Okay, yeah, we're starting to clear the production issues. Fengtian government, no, I'm going to decline that for now. I don't trust you with that. We have Amtrucks potentially that we could build, but I don't think I necessarily need that. We do have a few industry things that are underway, so I'm going to get construction 5 gone as well. And then that's done. Another ace pilot. We do have to deal with the war support issue, definitely. And I think I am going to have to run a propaganda campaign to deal with the bolster spirits, to deal with the results from the bombing campaigns. Not something we want. All right, here we are. Okay, we've broken Göteborg. Troops are moving into position here, but they're concentrating large numbers of infantry now on this position. So we'll get everyone time to reorganize. We've still got the light tanks coming in as well. Bialystok looking a little weak here with 6 divisions, one of them foreign, but everyone's reasonably well entrenched, and I think that's not too much of a problem to hold this position, but we do need this railway line. So, and unfortunately, breaking out and surrounding it would be significantly difficult. So we'll have to break through it face first as it is. Attacks here by Guderian have ceased, so we can probably. I've got an empty front line here. We can probably pull the anti-tank divisions again if we know where he's gone. Is he gone back? Yes, he's gone back to Memel. So okay, but I think I had pulled these. Most of these I had pulled from Odessa, honestly. So I think we'll leave them there for now. Memel should be okay. We do have a fair amount of divisions in place, so that should hold for now. Especially that we have aerial support against the tanks, which is helping out. Talking about air, all clear here. Okay, we've completely cleared Poland of enemy air forces, which means we can probably redirect the fighter wings. Let's get 6 fighter wings Do we have space anywhere to host 6 fighter wings? We don't. We have space for 4. So let's bring them here. We'll help out in Ukraine, to be honest. And we've got. I'll leave the other 6. Well, there's nothing left here, honestly. So we'll leave 2. We'll leave 2. We'll leave 2 behind. But we'll leave a few behind. But we can bring additional forces. We already have the numerical superiority. So the German Air Force is beaten at this point completely, which means we are going to make progress once the mountaineers have their organization back. We'll launch the next assault here with the assistance of significant tank forces as well. All right, Göteborg has been secured, and that means we can probably just march on, honestly, here and see if we can encircle and destroy a few more divisions. Actually move like this, and then we'll see if we can get these encircled and destroyed. The Swedes are definitely on the back foot. In Kenya, we are now making progress. We've got 6 divisions actually encircled here, so we do have to make sure that when that they're not breaking out. But I think we will have these. We can actually counterattack them here. We have these. No, that's too weak. Okay, just move off and ensure that they're not going anywhere. We do have a Persian division here holding the line. We've got some reinforcements coming in as well. So once we're clear here, we'll just hold them in place just to make sure they're not going anywhere. And we've got reinforcements coming in, and we've got the 144th from the north coming in as well. Okay, all looking good. What do we got? BMZ. BMZ is for trains, armored trains. Are we using that for? Oh, that we can basically get free railway guns. Okay, don't really need them. This would be for. What do we have? We can't do this because we need this one. This is production cost. This would be production resource need. Production cost be better, I think. This is production cost. This would be artillery. We don't need that. But minus 2%, minus 2.5% production cost is what we're going to take. All right. And this is equipment. What's that equipment-wise? Let's have a quick look. It didn't look like it was. Where are my armored trains? It didn't look like it was equipment bound. No, it is equipment bound. Okay, so we actually do have to upgrade these. Yeah. Okay. Let's do that and get this upgraded. There we go. All right. Back to the lines here. Sweden is running. I'll leave one behind. Sweden is almost running on autopilot at this point. I just have to keep a look at the other front lines. All right. Can we launch the assault here again? Are the mountaineers finally recovered from their earlier attacks? Almost. They just have so much organization that it takes a while to get them back up there. But I think I'll lead it with the tanks this time. So let's begin the assault from 2 directions, 3 directions. Make that 3 directions, and then we'll bring in the mountain forces as reinforcements. So the tanks obviously hindered by the terrain, but they do have flame tanks, and I think they are. I mean, honestly, look at the breakthrough in these attack values. It's quite significant. Then we can throw some mountain divisions as backup into here, and see if they can manage to dig this position out. All right, Sweden. We're simply rolling up the Swedes at this point. Let's simply encircle and destroy them. There's not much that they're going to be able to do here. Kenya, we have them down to a single position, and 4 enemy divisions encircled that have nowhere to go. And interestingly enough, they're not getting encircle. Are they able to retreat into Portugal? Or they might be able to retreat into Portugal actually. We're not at. Is Portugal involved in this? They might have military access to Portugal, even though Portugal is technically not involved in this war, I think. Well, we'll find out if we can manage to destroy them or if they're actually retreating here. So if they are they retreating? I think they're retreating. That is unfortunate. I was hoping that we'd be able to cut them off and destroy them, but apparently they actually do have military access in Portugal. So does that mean we actually do have to defend the line here in the south as well? That could be where they've all been coming from. Maybe we can at least manage to overrun these two. Let's see. All right, Swedish positions are being overrun. So let's clear out these two divisions and then further expand the lines. Now, Sweden has broken through again Norwegian positions near Trondheim, but they haven't taken the railway just yet. So for now, we're still holding. And that means we can probably just try to clear out and collapse the Swedish state in the south. All right, this is an attack from our side, so that's not any of our concern. Attack against Memel sees the full brunt of Guderian's forces. So I am actually going to now have to pull. Let's pull 3-4 divisions from this line back again, north against Guderian, and I do need them to be going straight to Memel. So let's get them redeployed. Here we are making headway. Heavy tanks leading the fight in the forest to destroy the defending infantry divisions. Hopefully we can blow them out faster than they can reinforce. That's always the name of the game here. Everything else is holding relatively steady. We've got a few abundant tactical lines here that we can get rid of. No further assaults along the south, and the only attack going into Memel. Lines in Sweden have been cleared, although there is now a British occupation north of Göteborg. I'm not entirely certain why, but so be it. So let's get all the troops. Let's get all the troops on into new positions for further offensive operations. And I think we'll simply be rolling along the southern parts here. And we'll see if we can distract the Reichspakt sufficiently to actually do something about it. But I think we've reduced the Swedish forces to such an extent that we can now get the Norwegian Socialist Republic to take over most of Sweden. Is that ideal in the long run? Well, we have sort of made a pact with the British at this point, or after their diversion in the Netherlands, despite our differences. And I think in that regard, we still have Finland as a buffer state between these syndicalist Nordics and us. So it is something that we can, I think, work with. In Africa, we definitely got troops here, but I think we have managed to overrun these two divisions, so that's good. All right, so that means we have a new tactical situation in Kenya now, where we are going to have to look at beginning reducing enemy forces, or just to hold the line. That's the other alternative. Now, we're not going to be able to hold this supply position, I believe. What we could try is to... we might not also be able to hold the south near Dar es Salaam. What we could try is to move out from there. That is a relatively risky move, but we can try that. So let's see if we can reinforce the lines here. We've got the South Africans in the lines here now as well, which means we are definitely vastly outnumbered in this territory. So this is a difficult proposition. We don't have any reinforcements. We could start sending troops from Central Asia, more troops from Central Asia, and I think that is maybe something that we can actually do. These are just regular infantry divisions, but if I'm going to take a few more out towards, yeah, that's 6 additional divisions, and we can deploy these 6 additional divisions, and I might actually, yeah, no, I'm gonna leave them on the older template. That's actually not bad. We'll get these to help hold a, well, I'd say a defensive line around Dar es Salaam. That would be a good start. Let's bring them in and reinforce that. We have enough political power to take the decision for bolstering of spirits, and that should deal with the enemy bombing problem, hopefully, and getting the people a little bit more excited about progress being made. Talking about which, how is the situation here? We've got 5 divisions to burn down. The problem is that they're reinforcing faster than we can push them out generally, but right now it looks like, yeah, there's still more coming, and I can't block these because we have no way of breaking that. But I think we've managed. Yes, we have managed to take the position. So supply to Bialystok is going to be secured. We are just going to have to wait for the engineers to clear the railway of debris and battle damage, and that means now we are in a good position to to follow this up, and we'll see if we can. No, they've got a fair amount of troops here, but I want to wait until we have the supply secured. So once supply is secured, then we are going to, and Bialystok's active as a supply hub, we're going to break north towards Mariampol, and then cut off the north, begin cutting off the northern front line. In the air, we are, I think, almost done. We're still going to, this is going to be, the attacks here are still going to go through Polish territory. So we can shift further fighter wings north if necessary. I might actually begin bringing, given there's not much left, I'm going to bring a few fighter wings over to the Baltic states now. And here we are, mission efficiency could be better. We already have extra ground crews. That might be a range issue on Ukraine, simply. I might bring that wing. Doesn't get much better if they put him over there. Yeah, it's fine. The enemy mission efficiency is terrible, so because they don't have the frontline airports to cover this. So we'll be, yeah, we're shooting them down in droves, and it's the absolute destruction of the Reichspakt Air Force. And with that, I think if we're looking at, okay, we're starting to run low on rubber now. So given that we can't trade, the next question will be, what are our Marines doing? Marines have been resupplied mostly, are still training. I do need these to be trained up. So Vatutin's Marines need to be properly trained. We've got 2 more Marine divisions that are still waiting for infantry equipment, potentially coming out, and we have 3 more heavy tank divisions coming in as well for further armored pushes now. So this operation will restart once the Marine divisions are fully trained. Right now they're on. I do need them on regular for the combat bonuses. And in Sweden, we are now facing the 12th Panzer Division. So Germany has decided that while we have what was that, 39 enemy tank divisions in the theater at Memel, we are also now starting to see a Panzer Division that has been rushed into Sweden. Now that obviously is a tempting target. So if we can bypass the, and yeah, obviously they are, they've just been rushed out from the rapid redeployment. But if we can manage to bypass this Panzer Division and take Helsingborg, then we deprive Guderian of one of his vital resources, and they've already lost the air, so that's going to be the next one. The rest of the front line mostly stable, and we are now looking at the supply. How long is it going to take until 9 days remaining? So by November 22, we can launch the assault again. So let's focus quickly on the position here and see if we can manage to encircle the 12th Panzer Division and get that destroyed. Okay, it's not just the Panzers by the looks of it. Germany is reinforcing with troops quite significantly. Okay, Panzers need to. Okay, they need to be prevented from running away. Unfortunately, they are. Okay, he has realized the danger to the tanks, and they are unfortunately escaping now. So yeah, they got away. That is unfortunate, but regardless, we're effectively marching through Swedish territory here now. We're pretty much uncontested. So southern Sweden is rapidly falling. Troops are moving into place for the assault here. And interestingly enough, they haven't taken Tabora, despite the fact that they actually have the troops in the area, but they are relatively low on supply. So we will try to stabilize that. We're sending additional troops to stabilize the southern line here, where we actually have supply. And we're still holding the north. So with some reinforcements, we should be able to further the war in Africa. We are waiting for the training to complete, and that means we can focus on the Swedish situation while not losing sight of potential attacks along the lines here. Well, these are just infantry attacks. Interestingly enough, the German divisions are still relatively well supplied and still at some strength. But they are. We're seeing fewer and fewer of the actually dangerous counterattacks that we couldn't hold back, and most of this is going to be due to the lack of air cover. And they are actually running low on supply here now as well, trying to push us back and retake the railway. So what's the? No, we're still good. So I'm still going to follow Sweden for now. All right, Helsingborg has been taken, and the German panzer divisions are trying to retake the straits now. So I think what we can do is we can leave. So we have two options. We can either try to bait the Germans into committing, and then try to cut them off and destroy them, or we can simply see if we can complete the capture of Swedish territory. And that would require to leave one division to hold Helsingborg. I think that's what I'm going to do, because that is effectively going to deprive them of vital supplies like steel. So if we can march north towards Stockholm, that also secures the Baltic quite noticeably. Right, so that's that. Air is green. Minor forces, no forces. And the remnants of the German Air Force are now just still fighting over Ukraine. But it's just pitiful remnants. So all in all, I think Germany has been deprived quite effectively of its air force. Let's see what we know. So they've got somewhere around 400 fighters left. That's it. So the German air force has been completely eradicated in the fight over Ukraine and the eastern borders. The Austrians have nothing. They have nothing left. So the full Reichspakt Air Force has been defeated, and with that we finally have momentum firmly in our hands, and we will see the fall of Sweden to advancing Russian forces. We'll get the syndicalists to control that. The Norwegians are destined to do this relatively effectively. We are seeing still difficult situations in Kenya and in Middle Africa in general, where significant conflict is still being waged. But the next operation is going to be the assault on the second assault on Ceylon. once these troops are trained up sufficiently, and the breakthrough north towards Königsberg. And then the big question is, can we rush Russian tank forces through the Suwalki Gap towards Königsberg, cutting off and destroying the German armored spearhead? That will be the next decisive move, if we can manage that, or if Germany can retreat towards a more defensible line near Danzig, then that means we can push the whole front forward, threaten Warsaw, and really once we've cleared this, we can redeploy forces south and make a breakout across the river against still relatively strongly entrenched infantry positions to take out the oil fields, and also to secure the Black Sea front. In other lines, let's have a quick look around the world. Brazil is still existing, but remnants of Brazil are existing, let me put it that way. The United States still haven't really moved in any direction particularly. Japan has cleared out a few more islands, but other than that, has made little progress in China. So they seem to be stuck threatening Jinan at this point. German East Asia is making headway into Burma, but is faced with significant Indian counterattacks. And that, I think, is pretty much it. Yeah. So the war continues, but I think we have the momentum now firmly in our hands after the defeat of the German Air Force, or the Reichspakt Air Force in total. And we will begin the inevitable juggernaut march towards Berlin.